Hello everybody, it is Al Knight and it is Brony time, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I am super excited to get back into this. In the last episode, we entered the world of the Great Ace Attorney. It is Meiji era Japan. They have opened their doors to the West. And in this time period, a murder of an English professor thrusts our main character into the courtroom for the first time, where he now has to defend himself, along with his close friend Kazuma, against the accusations of murder brought before him. So, without further ado, let's return to the courtroom, everybody. Now, here we are. Let us cross-examine our witnesses. Now, this one is pretty easy to figure out. Shit. Guys, I think I forgot how to open... Is it E? Oh no, E's to present, okay. But isn't there... Okay, that's kind of strange. I don't know why it says present there when we're... Hold it right there, buddy. This clearly shows it's from the front. Yeah. Oh my god. Here we go again with the yeses. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Dusting some photographic print in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. So frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. Couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Oh god, I freaking love the music in this game is so good. I hope you guys are ready. This is an amazing freaking soundtrack. Sorry about the cough there. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iesanosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. Yes, but no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because, help me out. Because, help me out here. Baby, help me out. Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh, oh, baby. It's a babby. What the... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but you pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial. Almost like this is going to be the first thing in every case name throughout the entire series. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. I think I forgot to read the line. Hold up, I'm gonna go back. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. There we go. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there. He was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. Gotcha. I feel like I'm not doing the judge's voice right and it switched, but we're just gonna have to live with it. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed, the Howe-era cupboard, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it's my aptitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop Rasute, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I pre-offered my Howe treasure. Believe that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The coupon vanished? Hunting around under the table, I was in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Howe treasure. Nothing could distract me! Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Howe coupon was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. Mister, I wonder who that could be. As I'm sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to declare a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witness to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. And what, sir? Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It would seem those straps are a sign that the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido, chin shut. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premise at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. Objection! If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime, Counsel? Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly see, there was only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. Ah, this doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. Photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbending at times.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. Only there have been more people dining there at the time. Someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day. Why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency. There was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at the clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. At a clinic. Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be... Well, of course! Any new evidence, you should always ask any new evidence to be presented to be put in. Unless it's, like, clearly not related to the case. If I may ask, I'd like to ask for the medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern. Whether or not there are any... Sorry, guys. Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korokuta-san. Indeed, alone he was the Englishman, designing all by himself. Well, as you very well know, excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some piece of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press space, and you can take a closer look at this piece in question. Use up key, right key, down key. No, shit. I read that wrong. It's up key, left key, down key, right key. I'm sorry. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using W, A, S, D. You can move the... You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press space to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there's something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use all these keys to inspect any areas of evidence that look suspicious. Okay. It says Hata Clinic on the medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Uh-huh. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia, although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time to listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Oh, but there's one problem.
Yes.
Well, I think, About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? Man, fuck you. I wish I could. But first and foremost, here I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. You raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully. It was really fucking hot. You knew exactly what it was you wanted to say, which is a very attractive character trait. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright. And thanks for the advice. Kurokuta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Compare what is written on the report card with your witness statement. Ow! Something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel. But let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witnesses' testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides the pale-faced pupil who could have murdered the... This medical report card has nothing to do with the case. Do you really believe that? Why, that outburst have petrified me, boy! Of course I believe it! How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hana Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. What's this now? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that cat... Korkuta-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more? You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. God! Expertly done, partner. Oh my god, what the hell's happening? Oh my god, this is a turnabout. What? What is this nonsense? You little upstart! These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Yeah! Oh. Sorry. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes! Most definitely. So having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who in fact was eating at the pictured beefs? Who in fact was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. Sorry, sorry if I fall off these voices a lot. There's a lot of characters, a lot of voices, and sometimes when they're so different, switching back and forth between them is a little weird. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, oh gosh, hold on, I need to get some water. Man, I tell you guys, these voices, this series is gonna kill my voice. There's a reason I can only do one of these episodes a session. The person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been the victim himself, me, the two witnesses, and as yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. There was also, we hadn't really checked this out. Let's check this out real quick. I just remembered that we had just unlocked the thing to the evidence, and, you know, what? Well, what's this? Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see? It says the witness name here, Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here... Now we can continue where we left off. We will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma, are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them. Those two witnesses in the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Is that actually true? I don't think I've ever gotten a definite answer whether or not this is actually true. Maybe it was at this point in time in Japan's legal system, but I don't think that's true in, at least not in America in this day and age. Complicit? In murder? No! Negative! There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting! I was just following orders! Oh boy, maybe that would have flown in this day and age, but definitely wouldn't now. That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman, that's what they told us. What? What did you just say, Kodakuchi-san? No. You were just following orders? Now, hold on, lad. I was, Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is it true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue! Oh my god, what's going on? Oh my god! Order! Counsel, explain what is going on here! It is painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth! Absolutely not! The prosecution knows nothing of this! Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Oh, well, That's classified! So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. I wonder who here we just found out is a member of the police. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it is who tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we can make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How could we possibly... Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail, found a new clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything, and make sure there's nothing we missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it is proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait, Your Excellency! I had no idea about any of this! I spent every shit-o god! I knew nothing! And what does the defense have to say about all this, well, Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just going to have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes into my head. Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is... this man. Inspector Sotaru Hosonaga, who is apparently 29, and the head waiter of the European restaurant Le Carnival. He was serving there on the day of incident. I realized we never looked at them. Yasunosa, 38, an army sergeant of the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident, and Koryo Kurokuta, 67. Dang, I think back then that was a long time to live. The owner of Rasute, who was hunting for a lost Hoi Era Gold Koban coin at the time of the incident. But we all know, it's him.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Naga-san? The stands who took the stand earlier? Trying to discern his voice from the inspector is hard, but I don't really know if I have another voice for that guy. Poppycock! What possible reason could the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If that is, the man truly were a waiter. What if he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit the court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity as proven by this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that is of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said, the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is A police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power as far as regular civilians are concerned. Me, I'm an ACAB man myself. So witnesses. They're in the stand. Was it, in fact, the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you would see this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... Hold it! Well, it seems this man has come to, well, defend himself, as it would seem. Inspector Hosonaga! I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course. Your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There has been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate on one point for this court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim, at the same table, was a young lady who I'm assumed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if the Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right! One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them studying in the medical faculty research laboratory is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I could see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. And the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of Yume University's medical faculty. What is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been undertied by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that the premise is false, it would be a disgrace. It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the new deadline for the ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our home government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country, or any other, to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir? You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given for the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem. Excuse me, Jesus. Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student, Giselle Brett, to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency! Good. Then we'll have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. Ah, there we go. I knew that was coming up, so I wanted to end it there. Of course, it is going to ask if I want to save my current progress. And the answer is yes, I would very much like to do that. But with that, we come to the end of this episode of The Great Ace Attorney. Things have really spiced up in this case. We now know that what we saw was indeed true, and we stumbled upon the evidence that we needed to prove that there was another woman present. Of course, we also learned that there was indeed a lot of corruption going on behind the scenes, as we pretty much could have gathered based on this being a secret trial and all the politics that are at play with this case. So, vested interests, of course, didn't want to upset Britain by accusing an English woman. But, yeah, so next time on the Greatest Attorney Chronicles, we will probably have our first encounter with Giselle Bretz. But, until then, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Brony Time for more content, especially more of the Great Ace Attorney. Also, please make sure to share this video far and wide so we can continue to grow the channel and expand beyond our original contents. I'm really having fun with this. I'm probably going to prioritize it for the foreseeable future. It's just something I want to do, but I promise, I will occasionally bring you guys the reactions you want, but man, do I love these games, and I love sharing them with you, and man, the last video was fairly well received. So, I will see you all next time.